Alright, so I promised to give you my thoughts and a kind of initial review of the pack after I'd used it. I've had it out on the West Highland Way in Scotland for all 96 miles of it over 4 days. It didn't rain, so unless you want to know how it copes with a mild drizzle, I can't tell you how it copes with any sort of heavy rain, I'm afraid, because the weather was glorious, apart from one 5-minute stretch of drizzle, and the pack handled that brilliantly. Surprise, surprise. So yeah, unfortunately, no rain test this time. Must try harder next time. I've pretty much not unpacked since I came back. I only got back yesterday. So the pack has still got almost everything in it that I took with me. There's a few consumables gone, like my Pringles. There's the fanny pack. So basically I'll show you how I had it set up. I got my Ultralight mountain gear shoulder pouch on there, which I use for my phone, and trash in there. And then what I did was I took I mentioned in my previous video, the overview. If you haven't watched it, it's maybe worth a watch just to see the features of the pack and what it offers. But I did mention that I'd bought myself a Lycra shoulder pouch and a water bottle pouch made out of Ultra fabric, and I was going to pick which one I wanted. I took the Lycra pocket with me this time and tried that, basically because the water bottle pocket, when I actually got it, it's huge, it's massive. It can probably fit, I would guess, a 1 litre water bottle, which is a little bit overkill for me. So this one, the Lycra one, I popped that on and it fits on real nicely, good snug fit. Takes a 500ml water bottle quite nicely, and it sat in there with it being an elasticated top. There was no danger of it popping out, so yeah, I was quite pleased with that. It was quite a nice little pouch. The hip belt, I'll show you this when I've got the pack on, but the hip belt I had modified slightly with these clips to attach my fanny pack onto. Okay, back around there. I'd also attached this, which is a Ultra 200 little pouch from Hartford Gear Company on Etsy in the USA. Really nicely made little thing, water resistant or waterproof zipper, and I used that for my filter, my Sawyer squeeze and my Nock Vector bag. Really easy to get to, just don't even have to open your bag up, it's just there on the outside of your bag, so that's brilliant. This outer pouch, the big stretchy one, I've got my waterproofs in the bottom there, so waterproof leggings and an Arc'teryx waterproof jacket. This thing that's sticking out the top, that is at the moment how I'm carrying my drone around. So there is a DJI drone in there, and that just sits in there snugly. Just in case there was a danger of it popping out, I just attached a little carabiner onto there and locked the handle case in with a carabiner so that it wasn't going to go anywhere. And I was quite pleased with that. I had no problems at all. What it meant was that I could just take the bag off and I didn't have to open it up to get the drone out to do any filming. I could just whip this out, bang, and it was really handy and really easy to use. So that was one of the things I was looking for in the bag, and for me that's worked really well. What else? The side pockets. All I've got in here at the moment is my folded up trekking poles, and I've got one of the compression straps on there around them, keeping them tucked in place. I also had, I'm using my tripod at the moment, I had that in there as well as my Tyvek ground sheet for my Durst and X-Mid 1 and a full-size tube of Pringles. That all fit into this side pocket. The side compression strap is adjustable at both ends, so that gives you a real good tie down for anything you've got in there that you want to secure. That was very good, especially for when you're travelling to and from your start and finish points of your hike. I was on the train for like 8 hours on and off different trains, lobbing the bag up onto like the high up luggage racks, and to have something to tie down the stuff in the side compartments, in the side pockets. That was really handy. I've also got the roll top compression that does come down into the side pockets. I do like that. I like the side compression and being able to tighten the pack down and get a real good closure on it. The one thing, just a little note, it's nothing major, but when you're using both straps, they do interfere a little bit, just a tiny little bit. It's nothing major, it's nothing to worry about, but also when you've undone this to gain access to your main compartment, that can sometimes flop back into the pocket, and if you've got stuff in there, it can be difficult to fish out again. Again, it's nothing major, it's just a tiny little thing. Excuse me. So, yeah, pretty pleased with them. Very pleased with all the attachment points. I mean, I had a towel hung off here that was drying. I had a pair of underwear, as you do, hiker trash and all that. They were hanging off there drying for the entirety of the first day. At the moment, in this side pocket, I've got my Durston Gear X-Mid 1 tent. Again, that's tied down by the side compression strap with a gatekeeper clip. Now, there's still room in there for something else. And when I was actually on trail, this pocket was holding, let me think now, I had my Thermarest Neoware X-Lite in a DCF dry bag. That was in there, along with a 1.5 litre water bottle. And, very importantly, a packet of Waitrose fruit sherbets. They all fit in there, and I could still get the water bottle in and out very easily when the pack was on the back. While I'm on the side pockets now, I'll say I can't say enough good things about them. I think the design of them and the size of them is absolutely fantastic. They're by far the best side pockets I've ever come across on a pack so far. The Osprey Exos that I had, they were kind of similar cut, to be honest with you, but they were quite awkward to get things in and out of when you had the pack on your back. But they were stretchy, so you could just keep stuffing stuff in there. This has got the best of both worlds. You can access them easily, they're big, and you can just keep banging stuff in there. So yeah, these side pockets, absolutely love them, brilliant. The top pocket, the top zip pocket there, what I was using that for, which I'm using it for now, were the compression straps that I weren't using. And I also had my little first aid kit in there, which was quite handy actually, because I went through a few ibuprofen on this trip. So that's a really good point. And then it's not there at the moment, but I did have the Y compression strap over the top, and I had this Farpoint fleece. I had that on there along with my windproof top as well, just for easy access. So that's pretty much the outside. The fabric, as I said before in my previous video, that the pockets are made of Ultra 400 material, so it's really robust. I didn't have any qualms at all about brushing that up against trees, rocks, branches, anything like that. There's a few places on the trail where you've got to squeeze through some pretty narrow gaps, and if you are wearing something wide or wider like this, you are going to scrape it basically. So there's a few knocks on there, but there's no tears, there's no catches, it's just dirt basically, you know. That reminds me, one thing that I've possibly not mentioned so far about the pack is the build quality. Chef's kiss. Mwah. It's great, it really is great. The stitching is just fantastic. It's just robust. It feels bomber, for want of a phrase that some people use. Really impressed with it. So yeah, I've got high hopes for this lasting me probably until I stop walking. We'll go back to this back panel. which I touched on in the previous video as well. I said I wasn't sure about it. I am sure about it now. I love it. It's really thick and it's comfy, and it makes a difference on your back. That'll be staying for me. I'll definitely be getting use out of that. And then that piece there as well, at the bottom of the hip belt where that's padded, you could feel that as well. That made a good difference. And then the only thing to say about the rest of it was on the underside, I had the bottom straps on there and they were carrying my tent. When I had the pack on and I was walking, there was no interference with my behind. Excuse me. Two things to note. I did find, like, after a full day of hiking, maybe about 10 hours, the straps were starting to loosen off a little bit, or at least I think they were. The tent did kind of move around. It was, when I put it on there and cinched it up, it was tight, and then towards the end of the day, excuse me, it was just starting to slacken off a little bit. And I think it was twice in the 4 days, the actual clips, the gate clips, actually came undone. And I think that was due to, obviously, when you've got the tent strapped on the bottom there and you put your pack down like that, you're putting the entire weight of the pack onto that tent and the straps, and I think that the clips had just popped open basically. Now, I noticed it when I'd stopped for a break basically, and it didn't bother me. I can't see them coming loose when you're hiking. It just, I don't think it can happen. But if you are worried about something like that happening, maybe either don't use those straps or just swap them out for a different type with a different closure system on. They were the only two kind of negatives I could find with the straps, really. Again, not a big deal for me. Didn't cause me any major problems. I didn't lose anything. And once you know about something like that happening, you can just keep an eye on it, basically. So I think for my next trip, I'll be just shaving down my load a little bit, leaving a few things at home and changing the way that I pack my bag. That's the good thing about these trips and gear. You're always learning. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. You're always finding new ways of doing things. And the best way to learn is to learn through mistakes and experimentation. So yeah. Load hauling wise and comfort, I can't tell you exactly to the ounce what I was carrying, but at the start of the journey, when I first got on trail, I was very high 30s in the pounds. I'll flash up on the screen what that is in kilos. Might have even been touching 40 pounds, possibly. And I hiked from 20 past 11 in the morning until, what time would it have been? Maybe 7ish, 7:30, something like that, maybe about 7ish, I think. And I'll be completely honest, I was experiencing some discomfort. But not the pack's fault, my fault. I didn't have this pack set up properly. What I was getting a pain right at the base of my back. So the next day, I just had a little tweak around with some of the straps and some of the settings and things, and it was a lot better. I didn't have any pain at all, or I didn't have that pain again. I had pain from carrying 40 pounds. But no, the second day was much better, the third day was brilliant, and then basically by the time I'd got to my fourth day and I'd got my weight down to, I would say it was below 35 pounds, this thing was an absolute dream to walk with. It was brilliant. Comparing it to the load transfer of the Kakwa that I've got, the Durston Gear Kakwa, the Kakwa to me almost seems to like clamp to your back. It kind of like just grabs your back, and when you're walking with it, I don't get any movement from it at all. It's like a limpet, it's stuck on there. And I'm not saying that's bad, because it isn't. The Kakwa, I find, has got really good load transfer. This is slightly different, I find, and there's a little bit more movement and roll with the pack. You can kind of feel it moving around on your back a little bit more. I think I still need to dial it in a little bit, to be honest, the fit. The hip belt I got it sewn in, so I can't get it exchanged, but I did get a medium hip belt. I'm about a 32-inch waist, and it is pretty much as tight as it will go. If I lose any more weight, which, let's face it, I'm probably not going to do, that could be a problem. But no, it's right on the borderline at the moment. So maybe if you are thinking of ordering one, just double check with SWD, double check with Brandon there, that you're getting the right size hip belt for yourself. Like I say, it's doing the job, and it's not a big deal, but it is kind of on the borderline. So yeah, I'm going to pop the pack on so you can just see what it's like loaded up when it's on, and then I'll show you actually what's inside it, and not how it's been packed, because I basically just threw stuff in here in the hotel to get back to the train on time. All right. Okay, so pack's on now, obviously. These things, the adjustments for your hip belt there, they are so long because like I say, I've got it tightened up as far as it'll go. What I was doing was just tucking them behind my fanny pack. The fanny pack I will just show you there. If you can see, what I did was I added a Sea to Summit repair buckle. So these can actually be screwed on and off. You won't be able to make it out, but there's a metal screw goes down here. So you can just unscrew the screw, take it out and take the buckle off. So that one's attached to the hip belt. This one's attached to the fanny pack, and just bang, it's in there. It looks like it bounces around a bit. It does. It doesn't get in the way. When you're climbing like that, you've got plenty of room with your legs to move. So exact same thing on this side, just slightly further back with the clip there. And then this pouch at the front, absolutely perfect for the DJI Pocket 2. So that worked really, really well for me. And then obviously it just pops off and becomes totally detachable. So yeah, I'm a fanny pack convert now. The one other good thing that I quite liked was when you've got hip belt pockets, they generally sit obviously around there-ish, and when you're walking, you can rub them and they can just be a little bit annoying sometimes and a bit in the way. How nice it is to have that freedom of movement. Excuse me. So not missing the hip belt pockets at all, to be honest with you. Had to just tweak these around just to get the heights right for access, but they're both pretty good now. Because the top of the water bottle pocket is elasticated, excuse me again, you do need to kind of hold it open with one finger and drop your bottle back in. You can't use one hand, you can't do it one-handed. If that's a problem for you, use a different water bottle holder. It's not a problem for me at the moment. I might test out the bigger one, see what it's like, and see if I prefer that, but at the moment, fine with this one. And then around the back you can see how everything kind of sits. So my tent was along here at the bottom. Like I say, nothing interfered with my buttocks. The side pocket, I could easily get into that for my water bottle access when I needed, which meant I could basically get my reserve water out when I was on trail, and while I was still walking I could refill my front water bottle. I didn't have to stop. It was brilliant. No one likes stopping unless it's for donuts. Everyone stops for donuts. So yeah, that is pretty much what the pack looks like when it's on at the moment. Because I got through most of my food, oh, it feels so nice on my back. the load transfer is very, very good. I'm gonna be honest with you. I find it to be extremely comfortable, especially after I dialed it in a little bit and tweaked a little bit. As I say, possibly still needs a little bit more, but I'll save that for when I get my gear set out for the next trip, because it'll be a slightly different gear load. I think I'm going to change my tent as well. Don't worry, I'm still going Durston. So let's have a look at what's inside. Alright, so to start with, let's do the outer lycra pocket. So as I mentioned before, let's get that clip out of the way. That is the drone case. As you can see, it's quite a size, and for that to be able to just slide in there, that was a real bonus for me. So that's in there. In the inside Milo pocket, the little mesh pocket that's inside this one, I got some wet ones and a towel. Trowel, not a towel. Don't try and dry yourself with that, it won't work. And then Arc'teryx waterproof jacket. It's the Beta LT. And then a pair of waterproof gloves, pair of waterproof rain pants. I think that should be it. Yep, that's it. So that front pocket holds a decent amount of gear. You can stuff quite a bit of stuff in there. I know not everyone travels with a drone, so if you don't, you've got a good amount of space in that front pocket to pop your odds and sods. So main compartment wise, let's see what we've got in here. Arc'teryx Puffy. Toothbrush, toothpaste, towel, coffee mug. It's a 375mm Tox titanium one. Cooking kit, again Tox titanium with a gas canister and a MSR Deluxe pocket rocket in there that I was trying out. Trash bag, towel that I mentioned, food bag, which is a Hilltop Packs custom print one. I might have a biscuit in a minute. There's plenty in there. A couple of the straps that I threw in. Thermarest NeoAir X-Lite, and that's the regular wide. Sorry, no it's not, it's the large. So it's longer and wider than most others. And that's a DCF dry bag. It's an old Osprey dry bag with my sleeping kit in there, which was a little overkill this time because it wasn't really all that cold up there during the night, but still nice to have. So yeah, that's a decent size. And then we have, what do we have? Oh, another Hilltop Packs bag. It's almost empty now, but that was my clothes bag. I basically took the clothes out of the bag for ease of packing. So we've got socks, gaiters and buff. Hiking shirts, hiking shorts, underwear. It's a Paramo waterproof, windproof top, not waterproof. Tyvek ground sheet, which I probably won't be using again because in the X-Mid it makes your X-Lite Thermarest just slippy slidey, really slippy slidey. We don't like that. Camp shoes. This should be it. Sleeping bag right at the bottom. So that's a ton of stuff. Sorry, it was boring, but I was trying to make the fact that you can fit an absolute ton of stuff in this bag. The one thing about the interior load space that did surprise me, and I don't know why it surprised me, it's quite narrow. If I just grab my Thermarest mattress, if you've got something that is basically wider than that, I'm going to put some specs up on the screen, but if you've got something that is wider than that and you want to store it horizontally in the pack, not going to happen. Because the pack, it kind of has a little bit of an hourglass shape in the fact that it obviously is a tiny bit wider at the bottom, then it narrows in through the middle and it widens out again at the top, if you're looking in cross section. So I'll try and put some measurements up the best I can, but again, if you're really bothered about the measurements and you need something specific, contact Brandon at SWD or SWD and just ask them some questions basically. Someone did ask me about the delamination of the Ultra fabric. I think that's something that's going to happen over a period of time and a period of use. I've certainly not noticed anything in 4 days of use. I mean, I would expect the first thing to go will be your roll top closure, because that's getting the most use, that's getting the most flexing and the most kind of rolling all the time. But certainly there's no degradation at all so far of the interior of the fabric, the face fabric inside. I don't know if you can see inside the pack or not at the moment. I'll try and show you on the video. I do apologise if it doesn't come out, but it's all very well stitched in there. So I guess the question is it going to be coming with me on my next trip? The answer is yes, bloody well is. I love it, it's great. These side pockets are fantastic. The comfort of the pack when you get your load dialed in is brilliant. It's really good. I said when I did my Kakwa review that it was the comfiest pack I've ever used. This is on a par with it. I've actually carried more in this weight-wise than I have in the Kakwa, simply because the Kakwa's slightly smaller, and I've had more attached onto this pack as well. So this has been carrying more, but the comfort is still similar, on a par with the Kakwa. Again, I'm not comparing, saying this is better than the Kakwa or anything like that. The Kakwa is the only other pack that I've used recently that I can kind of compare this to. So, yes, it's staying with me. Yes, I'm looking forward to using it again. I'm off again in 5 weeks' time. I've got 5 weeks of work and a week off, and I might be going somewhere then just to use my new pack. So, if you do have any questions about it, please feel free to pop something in the comments section. If you're waiting for yours to arrive, or if you've had one in the past and decided it wasn't for you, let me know what you didn't like about it. Any other questions or comments, I will do my best to try and respond in the sections. If you would like to see how my West Highland Way trip went, videos will be coming up soonish when I get them processed. So hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll be notified when they come up for viewing. So that's pretty much it from me on the pack. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you have some happy trails, and I will see you next time.